down one. Wait, scoot down one, because then there'll be a space. No, not this way. No, not in this way. Toward me. Ash is next to the tech stuff for her laptop. Yay. Organization skills. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. There's a lot of switches here.
Don't switch anything.
I want to hit him.
So first of all, I guess thanks everybody for coming to the No panel. I'm Ashley.
I'm Meg. I'm Meg.
And I'm Bruce. And I'm Bruce. My throat's really weird right now.
By our powers combined.
Oh, maybe. My voice has been cracking. My voice has been cracking a lot. What?
It does
It's a
that.
special time in your life. Special time in your life.
Yeah. Very exciting. You guys know there's porn on the internet? Like a lot of it.
I thought we'd start off by showing you a video, mostly because I'm super excited about this. I don't think Bruce and Laura have seen this yet because I just got approval to show it. But we're doing a branding refresh, which I think we've teased a little bit. I don't know if any of you guys saw this small little video that we did about Dark Souls 3 screenshots. You guys remember that?
Tiny video.
I'd like to see it actually.
Had a little bit of tease of our new logo and stuff, and start off by showing that. RTX, right? As soon as I figure out,
Don't ruin it.
Yes. I wasn't very happy.
You'll
see.
Nobody knows what it could be.
It's actually you guys are fired.
This is a really elaborate way of us selling it.
You're fired.
All right, yeah, that's no problem. We're taking the old show. Yeah.
We're now Hoon House, and it's none of you guys. Just kidding. All right.
How many hexagons are in the new one?
Oh yeah.
Just so many honeycombs. It's actually just bees. Like we're just bees.
We're switching to actually all bee information.
It's all the information all the time.
You remember I Love Bees, the ARG?
You become the entire channel.
So first of all, look at that.
Yay! So that's our new set. I wish we had like another photo of it. It's huge and exciting.
Yeah, we're using like one little corner of it right now.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Our set designer, Marcus, he worked on Laser Team, and he's created all this super amazing stuff for us. He's had this set. We've actually had it finished for like 6 months. It's been in the background of about 1 billion shows.
Yeah.
But we've been like waiting on various bits and pieces and haven't been able to use it. And now we have it, and we're going to use like one tiny corner. He's probably like, God damn it, Ashley.
We are using the screen and the blue wood, which is very exciting. The best parts of the set, in my opinion. It made its actual debut in Lads Action News like 6 months ago. So if you go back and watch that, that's what the set looks like. But we are off a green screen finally.
We did it.
Are you guys
Very
proud of us?
exciting. We did it.
I was going to say,
Drop the banner.
so I have a question. Are you guys going to fly us out to Austin every Monday, Wednesday, Friday to be on the set? Because I want to be on the set.
Absolutely.
Come on out.
All right, we can have a green screen, and you can just put us on your set.
Are you guys? Are you guys? I mean,
No one will be green screening onto this set.
What do you mean?
Down
It's
with
perfect.
green screens.
because you guys just moved into a new space too.
Right, and our set is just a bunch of lights
There's
and other things that are another set entirely.
There's an industrial shipping dock behind us now. So people are moving containers. There's just like Teamsters hanging around smoking. It's a pretty good, I mean, it's, you know, it's not that, but it's pretty good.
One of my favorite things is when you guys moved and started shooting, because you're shooting, like you guys, Bruce, you and Adam are between those doors.
Yeah.
But from Lawrence's perspective, when you cut to him, everyone just thinks that you're up against a flat wall and that you've green screened in, like people working behind you, because that makes a whole bunch of sense.
No, those two doors open up into this giant room where they've actually been building other sets because it's a production studio. So occasionally there'll be a set or a light or something behind us. That's not a green screen. That's really what's happening. There are people yelling behind us.
Yeah. It is movie magic.
Yeah, my favorite thing when we started the Know-It-All actually was when we got off of the patch set and we did the standing off to the side view of the Know-It-All. We were like, this looks so good. And the top comment was like, this green screen looks like shit. And we were like, no, we're finally in the real world.
What's really funny about when we were doing those Know-It-Alls is how much work it took to look like not dungeony.
Oh yeah, no, it was full dungeon.
Oh yeah, because it's in a hangar. There are no windows. There's no such thing as natural light. In fact, I was talking to Jeff this morning. We were both blinking because there was actual natural light coming in through some windows, and we're like, this is not
It's not
It
the
is
way we work.
weird. I can't. We're all blind now.
When you get hired by Rooster Teeth, they should just give you a bottle of vitamin D and then say goodbye to the sun.
Yeah, so like we would have to, when we were doing that, it was like a half-hour setup. Like we'd get these big, just like kinos of lights around, turn on every light in the studio, open the bay doors, and then be like, all right, it's less dim.
Yeah, it looks like a green screen still. Great, let's go with it. Wonderful. So I don't really know what we envision this panel to be. I feel like it's mostly questions, but
Yeah, it's funny. Initially, I was like, yeah, we can do a lot, Q&A and all that sort of stuff. And then I realized we've done a lot in the last year since the last RTX.
it's very true.
We got some handsome new gentlemen.
Who?
Are they
Yeah.
starting soon or?
Sorry they couldn't be here today.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, they're not here.
They're starting soon. They're starting actually with our new set.
Exactly.
We're green screening in the faces.
Spoiler, it's Blaine. He's never wearing a shirt again.
Oh, man.
But I think there's a no update where I can't
Oh,
remember
yeah,
which
there
one.
is.
Well, there's one we did where we wanted him to take off his shirt, and it was literally like this: Blaine, we need you to take off your shirt. No, okay. Like,
I remember that one. It was the Sin City poster.
oh yes, and he was. It doesn't take anything to convince Blaine to either talk about Star Wars or take off his shirt.
You know, they had to handcuff him into a coat for the live action panel.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Yeah, no, somebody got the key and unleashed him.
Can't unleash the beast.
Blaine's actually underneath the table right now, naked.
Yeah.
Come on out! Oh, no.
That would be an amazing panel. We
I
just had a
wish.
naked.
I wish. No, he's not.
He's too busy, sadly.
Yeah.
We were actually discussing this kind of off topic, but speaking of naked Blaines,
It's not that off topic.
we were
It's
discussing
always just
something
right
for
there on
$1
the
million
edge.
butt, and there's a lot of naked people on that show actually.
It's weird that
Constantly.
happens.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Also, a lot of dicks.
a lot.
Sounds like Rooster
And
Teeth.
Blaine was like trying to figure out how to work himself into this naked episode.
Of course
he
he
was like,
was.
looking pretty good right now.
So welcome to the Talk Shit About Blaine panel.
Yeah,
Yes.
seriously. What an asshole.
the no, fuck you, Blaine.
We're actually going to start a new show that just follows Blaine's pecs through their daily life.
Oh, man, that's a good show. I
Tossing the
watched
old set out. New set, Blaine's pecs in the background.
The green screen can
Yeah.
be a different part of Blaine's muscles
Nice.
each
Oh,
day.
man.
You guys heard it here first.
Best show ever.
We're all
Forget
very,
that set we just built. Let's go
Yeah.
back to the green
We
screen.
have a better idea now.
yeah, we're all very jealous. Can you tell?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not fair.
Yeah, it's been a big year though. So in the last year, we got you guys. I'm so it's been so nice. The
We're happy to
last
be
year,
here.
Like having
Yeah.
you guys on
Yeah.
board. We had a huge E3. We've never done anything on that kind of scale. We moved into we were in the new space last year, so that's not new. That's the old.
We became the only news outlet for video games in history
That's true.
to beg for dude voices. Like the only video game news outlet that's ever been like, we need more guys chiming in.
We're so happy. We're like, oh my god, we'll finally have guys to work with. It's gonna be so great.
Yeah. The
Like,
male perspective was missed for the very first time in the video game industry.
Like we could pull Ryan or Gus in occasionally to do stuff with us, but they're so busy doing their
But we
other
need
stuff
actual
as
men.
well.
Yeah, they're not
you
really
know?
males, though.
Yeah.
Men.
Hopefully, are they
Sorry.
here? I wish they were here.
This is the fuck everyone panel. Great.
You guys have had a really good influence on our news as well. Like when we started, and this is how we were doing news last year. Still, it was very the information and the opinion were very segregated. We were doing much shorter news updates, where it's like, here's the information, we'll editorialize and we'll discuss how we feel about it in the patch. But then you guys were able to come on and bring your wealth of experience and fart jokes.
And fart jokes, too.
A lot of-
There's a wealth of those. too.
Never.
Speaking of getting
look,
naked,
never underestimate the fart
Bruce.
joke.
What? No, we're not going to talk about what? Getting naked?
Get all the
Farting?
time.
No. I mean, that was one of the things we did at Machinima. I don't know if you guys watch Inside Gaming Daily, but that was something that we really enjoyed. We loved doing those. We loved doing the opinion pieces because we got to express ourselves and find out also what you guys thought. Because we always read the comments. We always read Twitter. But that was something that we found valuable about expressing our opinion about the news. And we're just really happy you guys let us do that on the know as well, because that's something that I think resonates with a lot of people. So,
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so over the last couple of months, we've all been able to meld a lot of stuff and build, and it seems like you guys seem to like it. I mean, there are a couple of you here. hopefully you like where we're going with it. Otherwise, we're in really big trouble. But actually, I want to know like what.
It's fine.
No,
You're
it's
all,
fine.
they're in the wrong panel room. This
Hold
was
on.
actually Blaine. They heard
No.
Blaine was naked here. They all came for that.
That's what we put on the program. We put just like this is actually Blaine's pecs panel.
Yeah, there's no words. It's just a photo of Blaine naked.
God, I wish.
Just like a nice little 8x10 in a
One
frame
person
here.
is very excited. Is it Blaine? I want one person to stand up and for it to be fucking Blaine back there, right? What could have been?
Yeah, but how has it been like for you guys moving from like you've moved from one place to another? Still like you do the news with us, but like I'm sure that everything's changed a lot.
Sort of. Kind of like Bruce was saying, we kind of kept the same spirit of the way we report news, which is throw all the information out there and then provide context. Which I read a lot of stuff on the internet, and God bless you, some of you guys don't have a whole lot of context, and that's fine. That's fine. But you get 16-year-olds who have never had a job telling someone else this is how video games are made. And that's a little weird. And it also leads to this weird disconnect. So, one of our missions of content was to just educate. And sadly, it used to be you could just give people facts. That doesn't really happen anymore because people feel entitled to their own truth now, which is also strange. So, we took that and took it over to the know, and people seem to respond very well to it. It's also a little more provocative and a little more contentious, but that's kind of what good content is, or at least that's what we always thought. It's engaging. People want to talk about it. I would say it hasn't changed too much in terms of the spirit of that, but we have had to change how we make the show and how we produce it and things like that. Especially when we're dealing with like big stories that could potentially affect some very serious things. We have to be very careful about that stuff. So we've had to kind of ratchet up our game a little bit too.
Absolutely. Just the reason that you guys are here really shows that I feel like the maturity in the sense that this is the audience that we want to talk to, and you guys are willing to listen. And that's something that it seems like, we read I forget who called us yelling men.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was that
the
PC
yelling men of the
Gamer?
know.
Yeah, it was PC Gamer.
It
something like that.
immediately backfired. When
It's
we wanted
true, though.
dudes,
That's the
now we're
thing.
yelling
Oh,
men.
yeah, I know. I forgot about Megan
You
Ashley.
ruin everything.
I got you guys accustomed for the new No intro. I'm just gonna cut out Brick shouting loud noises.
noises,
And
yeah,
you
no, I know.
We'll use that one.
They called us yelling men, and that's sort of it's not the thing that we hide behind. It's just more of the way to give you the information in a fun way, and not in a in a super CNN way, right? Like that's one of the things that Jon Stewart's leaving the Daily Show right now, and
This minute.
he's
Yeah.
I think
Breaking
he's gone,
news.
and he's gone.
And he's gone.
And no, he's leaving the Daily Show after what, 15 years, 20 years of doing the Daily Show.
16
16
years.
Like 16 years.
Wow.
And he's turned that genre kind of all the way on its head because he's delivering news that's informational and factual in a really fun and comedic way, and also has been able to sort of change the tone of news in general, which is very interesting. And that's sort of the thing that we're trying to do with video games
Yeah.
on the know.
One of the things I really like about having you guys on board is your style has allowed us to kind of be more controversial. We take on stories that
You should be.
Yeah, I mean I'm a shitster, I guess. I'm like, yeah, Shenmue 3, let's talk about whether or not that's a scam. That's okay. You didn't have to watch the video. But it's been really cool because it meshes with the way you guys do news as well. So it's been really cool to be able to put out stories out there that make people think, and on a surface level make people really angry, and you get to instantly see who didn't actually watch the friggin' story and
Yep.
just like commented. But it's been really fun. It actually makes working so much more fun when you get to have a critical eye and ear and get to approach it from that perspective.
To date, one of my favorite days at work was the day that Fallout 4 was revealed.
We did dueling
And
stories.
Yes. Yeah.
Meg and I were like super excited about everything. Like, oh my god, this is super cool, and this and this and this. And we're talking to these guys. We're like, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be really great. And they're like, we weren't that impressed.
Yeah.
And we're like, they're like, we're a little bit skeptical. We have these concerns, and we're like, bitch, you crazy.
Yeah,
And so
we were like, do your own damn, get out of our
immediately-
story. We were
So-
trying to figure out how to do one big story, and it instantly became we felt differently. So we were like, get out of our story, make your own story.
So we did too.
Yeah, we did too.
And it was interesting because when we did too, you got to see where the audience fell on either side of the video, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I love seeing the feedback on both because I went through all of your guys' comments
Yeah.
too, and I was like, those are some good points in the comments, and like you guys made some really good points in the video, and I was like, it kind of made me reassess that Fallout 4 trailer. But both Lawrence and I were not impressed when we first watched that trailer.
Well, that's one of the things that's really neat about working together. We were actually talking about this earlier in an interview, is that if you guys can cover something and we can feel like, well, we disagree with that, and there's not like a, oh, well, we're shunning you and we're still same team, but it's like, hey, here's another thing you might not have thought of, and we're able to like kind of cover stories from our own perspective.
Welcome to the other no. Don't listen to those assholes.
It's the same YouTube channel. Yeah, it's the same YouTube channel. Sorry.
For April Fool's Day, we should just dress like the other, like, maybe I shouldn't tell them while they're here. We should just dress like them. Damn.
It's too late.
Ruined it.
We heard you.
They'll forget.
We need to line up our thumbnails. Like us flipping off to one side, then flipping off to the other.
Oh, yes.
Goes up back to back.
We'll have the most epic yearbook photos of all time.
It's our poster.
But why don't we actually, there are so many of you that we actually do want to talk to. If people want to line up and ask questions or make comments, we'd love to hear
there's a couple.
both.
Be nice.
There's a couple. It's in person now. We know who you
Very
are.
fragile egos.
You know, on that note, while everyone's lining up, I love that we all read the comments for
Yeah.
our videos. One of the weird things that comes up on YouTube all the time is people say they advise don't read the comments. And I absolutely disagree with that. I think reading the comments is one of the best things that we do.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you have to pay attention to, like, if there's a valid comment, like, that's well thought out and well written, then that's the one I'll read, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's okay, that's constructive
And react to
criticism.
it.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but I also took, I take comments that are like, bitch, shut your mouth before you're talking about Shenmue, like in that vein. And real comment, thank you.
It's tattooed.
I'm gonna actually get it on my arm. I've got it written in Sharpie all over my walls. No, but comments like that that have some grain of something of constructive criticism in them, even if that's not the intent, and we still read those and are like, oh, this person kind of pointed out we were wrong about this thing, even if they used very colorful language. Yeah, we still can use that.
Yeah, you can get people's temperature even if what they're saying is not doesn't make sense. If people are mad, they'll express that in a variety of ways. And most of the time it's important to realize that when we said something this way, people got very mad. But when we said something this way, people didn't get mad at all. So I use comments to tune delivery because it's the same information either way. It's usually people get mad at tone, not the information. So you can find a way to tell something they don't want to hear in the right way, and they'll walk away being like, that's a bummer, but I guess that makes sense.
Step
Very
one,
true.
before you give anyone bad news, just show them Blaine's pecs.
Yeah.
Yes. Step one, naked Blaine.
All right, let's start here.
Oh, we'll start over there. We
Let's-
both pointed
no,
at different
hold
people.
on. Here's how you're gonna do it. You each get one word at a time. We've done this on the spot. We can do it.
We'll start over here.
You get
It's
the full
you.
question, it's fine.
Okay.
No pressure. No pressure.
All right. My question is, what is your main source of news, whether it be like GameSpot or IGN.com, and what actually, what is like
There'll be
actual
no interrupting. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
what is actually like newsworthy for you to put in a video? Like, is it just like, oh, that might be okay, or is that like, or is there some things that's like top story, but then there's something that's just like not really worth it?
Go ahead. We kind of talked about this in our interview.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a lot of times it's a mix. There's a lot of actually like word of mouth that happens. Everyone in our office is like follows certain things very, very closely, and so we hear about a lot of stuff from people immediately as it happens. Or we also have a lot of contacts in the industry who will tell us about things as they happen as well. So it's sort of a mix of things. I wouldn't say, a lot of times I actually try and stay away from other news sites because as I'm figuring out what I want to say, I don't want it to be colored by what they're already saying. Sometimes they're very valuable if they've got an interview with direct quotes and that sort of thing. But for the most part, it's like, you sometimes hear about writers who try not to read something while they're working on a specific project because it might color what they do subconsciously. It's a very similar kind of thing. For me, at least.
Yeah, I agree with like where we get our information. For me, a lot of it also is social media. Like if people are talking about something, that means that it's interesting and people are gonna have an opinion on it. The worst thing you can do is put out a post that people are just gonna be like, okay. Like you want something that's gonna ask a question, that's gonna get a response, that's gonna generate a response. So there's that, but I think what we decide is top line versus like what's not that interesting is do we have something to say about it? So Ashley and I kind of have these informal pitch meetings in the morning where it's just like, hey, did you hear about this? And she'll be like, no, oh no, I didn't hear about that. And then you get like, as I'm telling her, I figure out, okay, well, what do I actually think about this, and how much information do I actually have about this, and is it eliciting a response from Ashley? Is it eliciting a response from me? That kind of thing. So if it's provocative to us, then we're gonna cover it. I mean, whether it be like a porn story or, you know, something about dicks, like we're talking about it, we think it's funny, we're gonna cover it for sure.
Basically, the exact same thing. I think the most critical thing is, can we add anything, whether it's additional information, connect two stories that may have seemed disconnected, draw lines of parallel, finding emerging themes. So if there's a lot of a kind of story coming out and then another one pops up, that one story may not be interesting, but when you link it to all of these, suddenly you're like, okay, now there are just a lot of reboots coming out, or a lot of sequels that are bad, or this one company is putting out way too many products in a short amount of time. What's going on there? So the critical thing is, I think, offering something new to the viewer, because there's so much parroting in games media, and any kind of media really, but you can't, like, when you are talking to a very informed audience, they pretty much already know the headline as soon as they come into your story. So you have to give them something new, or something to think about, or something interesting, or something provocative, like they were saying. So it's a combination of all those three things. Is it purely a good informational story, or people talking about it, and does it have something that we can add? It's the triangle.
They got it all. They got it all there.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
The peak, yeah. He edits our no basically every day, by the way.
Yeah, every
You guys are crazy. You
so
guys are gonna kill some
weird.
people.
It's the new Slender Man for sure.
Is he like a religious figurehead at
I
this point?
feel like
Kind of.
he's gonna come
I mean,
out in
that's
a
like-
he's gonna come out in a robe that has the peak, and it's.
He would
I
never.
did it. I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
even mean
somebody
to
would
do
have
it.
to
I
be-
did it. Oh!
Somebody would have a gun to his back saying, "Don't do it, peak,"
Yeah.
and he'd be like, "Okay." Listen, if you
You're
guys
like
want to
a
be like
priestess
peak,
at the altar of peak.
that's a very high standard. I'm serious. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever met in my entire life. Endlessly humble. So if you want to be like peak, you got to bust your ass. So don't take
like
that lightly.
Hello.
Afternoon, guys. Knowing your job comes with like having to read a lot of terrible, insulting comments most of the time, I would imagine. Is there ever a time where it's too much and you gotta just de-stress or like just zone out for a while? And if it does come to that, like how do you just get out of that, like, shitty feeling or
No,
like, whatever?
that doesn't happen. So I mean, for me at least,
Oh.
in the sense that like for Half-Life 3, when that was happening and we did that story, I spent the entire weekend, and that's not a joke. Spent the entire weekend responding to comments, responding to subreddits, responding to Twitters. I mean, like it was, and like at one point I kind of sat back and I was like, man, I'm really tired of this. And then I saw another comment. I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
I went after it.
I saw it. He was in the trenches all weekend. It was amazing.
I was really, because I mean, it was like one of those things that, like I'm not insulted that maybe they don't agree with the story or whatever, but when you start questioning, like basically you start questioning the facts of what we gave you, and they're like, oh, you're a liar. I'm like, all right, well, tell me how I lied, and then we can try and figure out in the middle whether or not I said wasn't true, what you don't believe, or like sort of hashing out the issue rather than just getting insulted for being insulted's sake. So that's the way I work. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I feel the same way. The thing that stands out in my mind is the Angry Joe story was the same kind of thing. Just responding to comments, responding to people to be like, this was a peer-reviewed story. It's not just my rant or personal vendetta. This is something we all discussed and we all talked about. And you might not. It was sort of like that tone versus what was actually said. It was just. It was really interesting. But that's kind of how I handle that kind of overwhelming amount of just like vitriol from all sides, and just out of nowhere is just to start like, okay, let's talk about facts. Let's talk about what facts I got wrong. Okay, I didn't get any facts wrong. You didn't like the way I said that. Okay, that's fine. I can't change that. That's a video. It's up there already. So that kind of stuff. When you stick to the facts and you break it down, it seems a lot less overwhelming.
Yeah. But also, for the record, I think that our YouTube community is amazing. Like I read the comments. And there's a lot of like really great input.
It's very gradual.
There's a lot.
Can I clap for myself? They were like, woo, oh, okay, a woo, yep, all right, oh, yeah, okay, yes, me.
There's a lot of great input, a lot of great thoughts. There's a lot of variation in what people want to see, and it's a lot of sometimes people just like make stupid posts. They just need to fill the comment box, but overwhelmingly, I think that what I've seen in our YouTube comments is so much better than other communities.
Absolutely. And to that point, when you get
You
like a
guys are the
story,
best.
like an Angry Joe or a Half-Life, it's overwhelmingly people who have never seen any other video you've ever made that are making those comments. So it's when we get an influx of people who are not fans of us, who have no record for who we are or how we normally deliver news or that kind of thing, or what our process is, that's normally when we see like the overwhelming just like shitstorm of comments.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is kind of a multifaceted question, mostly for, I guess, Meg and Ashley. When you guys are doing an episode of The Know, how much of it is, or how long do y'all rehearse beforehand? How much of it is script and how much of it is just like improv? And when doing quotes, do you guys use something like a teleprompter or anything like that? I know mostly the Funhouse guys, they mostly just provide context and just do conversation, so.
Yeah, we script pretty fully. You know, we feel free to deviate every now and again and add a bit of a joke or a bit of an opinion. But for the most part, we are trying to deliver information, and I like to write it down and script it out to make sure that I don't miss anything.
Right.
And make sure that it has like a flow from one point into the next point to the next point. And we've definitely loosened up how rigidly it's formatted, so we can joke around and have a lot of fun. But we don't really rehearse. The nice thing is because we write it and then we host it knowing exactly how it was written to be said, and then we edit it so we know if I'm like, oh, if I completely just didn't words there and need to just go back maybe like a sentence to speak English. I know we all can do that knowing exactly what we're working with, which is nice.
Yeah, Ashley and I know each other's styles really well. So Ashley has recently, I've been doing one person reads, and Ashley's been doing the two-person reads. And Ashley knows my style well enough that I don't even read it before we get up there to the teleprompter. I just know that she's going to know it in my flow and write it in my flow. And I'll just read it. So we don't do any like rehearsals or table reads or anything like that. We just write and then we stand up there and say it.
That's going to be a lot of fun one day. It's a long play.
Yeah.
Funhouse process is very similar, actually, to their process as well. We all have a teleprompter that we work off of. Lawrence writes all the stories, and it's the same with Lawrence. Lawrence knows my tone, Adam's tone, basically whoever else is coming on. And the facts and things like that are usually laid out at the beginning of the story, the actual story itself. And as the episode goes on, I'm sure you've seen with all of our episodes, as it goes on, we become more and more conversational.
Yeah.
We start, I guess, digesting a story in our heads and actually talking to each other about it. And that's something that I think we've all been doing the last few months at least. So.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
Yeah, and can I just say our new teleprompter is amazing.
We used to work off like this really sad iPad, and it would never connect, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
When I started doing news stuff at the very beginning, we didn't even have that. I would memorize like 2 sentences at a time, and then have to hide these jump cuts by being like, "Look, magic pushing! You didn't see anything."
That's how SourceFed used to do all of their stuff before they had if anybody's a SourceFed fan, they have a hallway. Hey, they have a hallway of old scripts, and it's because they used to tape them to the light pole, and they would look and do 2 sentences at a time, and real low budge, and do like a couple sentences and then say it, and they go back and forth so much and do so many jump cuts that you'd never know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really smart.
Yeah, but I just want to say thank you to our teleprompter for being nice now.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Having working equipment.
Yeah. We're on this side, right? Oh, this side.
No, we're this side.
This side.
Great, cool.
Thank you for keeping track for us.
So hearing how you kind of aggregate news about what you want to write about, kind of like looking through social media, see what are people talking about, what are people not. Since you are expanding, you have the new set, and you're really expanding out. Do you have anything in the pipeline to do bigger, more investigative, in-depth, multi-part stories that take more time than just looking at what people are talking about before, but kind of taking a risk and saying, maybe we'll look into this developer and say, what are they doing? What's going on with them?
Who gave you our roadmap?
Right. So the short answer is yes.
Well, I mean, I am in school to be a journalist, so I think about this stuff all the time.
So what he's saying is it's very predictable what we're all playing. Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you.
The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, but we don't really have anything to share yet. We've done a couple of things like once or twice. We went to Bungie and did a whole thing, interviewed a whole bunch of developers to discuss about Destiny. It was a pet project of mine. I went to Gearbox to talk to a whole bunch of the original Homeworld development team about the remaster, even though like no one's gonna watch.
You
that,
were
but
chugging that along
I
on
really
Will
wanted
alone.
it to go. I love that game so much. So we've done that on occasion. We definitely want to do more of it and bigger in scope. We've got a couple ideas that we're working on, but we're gonna take one step at a time. Gotta put one foot in front of the other foot and down.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's how that song goes, right?
This side.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
one person in it.
I appreciate that.
Slow clap, but it didn't happen.
Nope,
Okay, I'm
you can't,
sorry.
You can't make the slow clap. This
It's okay. You can stop.
is getting worse.
It's okay, yeah.
Let's move on.
It was like we were Mighty Ducks, then a peak happened. It's gone off the rails.
Hold on, quick,
Nope,
over
you can't
here.
say that.
Oh, I can't
see.
say it. I'm gonna have a nightmare tonight about it.
Hey guys, I've wondered since Funhouse came aboard, how do you guys go about picking which team covers which stories? Because
First come, first serve.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, every morning I make a doc and it has the name of the story and the title, and then I share it with everybody. So once the email pops up, Lawrence I shared a doc with you, and it's got the title right there. It's typically like, okay, put a stake in that one.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
it's basically
absolutely.
it's like peeing on something called dibs.
Yeah. So
you know,
if
we
it's
all-
like, we get in earlier. So if there's like a big story, sometimes we'll just be like, and like the little chat that we're doing, like, don't worry about blankety blankard, I got it covered. And it's basically we pee on stories.
But in the nice way. But the nice thing is too is I think that we all sort of have slightly different approaches and interests.
Yeah.
So the stories that we really want to cover are all different. Like I would not have been like, you know what I really, really, really need to talk about today are the statistics on who watches My Little Pony porn.
Oh, but
And-
it was
and
such a
Meg-
good story.
That was a good story.
And Meg,
I like that
Meg
story.
comes in and she's like, you would not believe this that came out. Do you know the demographics?
Stop the
of-"
presses.
and she was getting really into it. I was like, I
I don't know how to say it.
I don't get this, but yes.
I was trying to tell her. Like, I didn't know how to approach, like, so Ashley, Pornhub.
It's pretty easy to wrap your head around, I gotta be honest. So they're ponies.
Pornhub statistics are fascinating.
really are.
And I've done so many stories about Pornhub statistics and I love them. So whenever they come out with one, I'm like, yes. But yeah, we don't often have, in fact, in recent memory, the Fallout 4 story is the only time I can think we were both like,
Overlap.
we wanted to
Yeah.
cover the same thing. We do have very different interests and we cover, and actually Funhouse typically will cover the more investigative kind of stuff and go off like a left turn Albuquerque. Like there'll be a big news story and I'll be like, shit, I didn't email I was gonna get that story today. I bet Lawrence, they're doing something completely different. Okay, cool. Like you guys kind of go off on your own thing a lot too.
Also, they're 2 hours ahead. They're Central
Yeah.
Time, and we're Pacific. So it's kind of good in the sense that we've got that overlap and that coverage because you guys can pick up like whatever big story it is. And if, like she said, it's very rare that she'll say, there's a Halo story, and like that's Adam Kovic's.
Yeah.
By the way, so anything Halo usually comes up like Adam's all over it. But I like that we have different interests. I like that because
Yeah.
then we really don't have to worry about that. It's not really an issue.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey.
So obviously this would be something that's way off in the future, only because logistically it would require a new section on the just finished news site, and of course finding a way, setting it up to do revenue. But would you be interested in the future, as someone whose background is in print journalism, would you be interested at all in the future doing news in addition to the video, but having a text-based section on the site for you to allow you to, of course, to post news faster and cover more in more time?
I know you're excited to answer this question. That's why, it wasn't me like begging for it. I knew you were excited to answer this question.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to have the new site. When we had one before.
Your fancy YouTube feed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the new site has been coming for so long that actually when we launched the No and we're going to set up a site for it, we had a Band-Aid, which was basically just an automated feed from YouTube, and we had no ability to do text updates or anything like that. I was so excited about the new site, I immediately did an RIP Hitchbot.
Yeah, she does. There are text updates currently on the No.tv, and Ashley has put out a Hitchbot one already.
Yeah,
Nice.
so we have a lot more freedom now. I think where I see text updates is for smaller stuff that if we have something that's happened that we go, oh well, that's kind of interesting, but we don't want to spend 5 minutes and 1,200 words talking about it, then that's the place for it. but I don't know that we would do something that's both a video and then do the exact same story in text, because then
What's the point?
why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see them as being kind of complementary.
Right.
And so far the site's just me being like, this is weird. How are you guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories that I think we look at and then we're like, well, it's cool, but there's pretty much nothing else to say other than, you know, these few sentences, and then we've gotten the information across. So that's where text would really help.
I'm interested to hear Lawrence's perspective on this, since you came from a text background.
Writing is dying, like in a huge way. So to invest in that now would be to throw a lot of time and money into something that nobody wants to consume. You have some strong columnists out there, but most news stories, people get all they want out of a tweet and maybe like a forum title and the first sentence of the thread. So it's like, you can do that, but you're essentially, like I said before, you're just going to be reposting what other people have already posted. And if we and then the tools are there to make video a little more monetizable and a little more worth your while.
And one of the things that I feel like we're definitely seeing is this huge shift in games media and games coverage, where people tend to be less interested in traditional media outlets, and they're shifting to individuals who, they're like, this guy, like I get this guy and I like what he has to say and that sort of stuff. So it's becoming much more opinion-based, which is where video shines.
Yeah. Also, Lauren says, screw what you were focused on in print media.
Sorry.
And sorry, RIP
If
your
you want to get
career.
into print media, you will never be paid much. You will work a lot. And I hope that it's what you really, really want to do, because print media is really tough. Really, really tough.
He's done it for years, and he's trying to protect you.
I barely was able to make a living being like a full-time freelance writer, and I was working like 4 or 5 gigs at a time. So.
This is called Scared Straight.
I feel much better about my career path now. Thank you.
Yeah, no. Well, the thing is, you can take those skills and move it into something that, where there's some money, or you can actually have a job. Like, I wrote a lot, and I was able to parlay that into a different career, but I had to teach myself how to edit video and teach myself how to not be reprehensible in front of a camera and things like that. So the skills you're learning are not bad, but you may need more to complement it.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi.
Oh,
I got an applause.
I love it.
Feels so bad
I just told
for
the man
that
he's going to be
guy.
homeless, and they're clapping.
Tough love from Lawrence.
Lawrence and Bruce, on your Half-Life 3 story, because it was such a big story and you want to get everything right, like how long did it take you guys to go from, okay, we're going to do this story, to finally putting the video out?
It was about 4 days, and I was doing a lot of after-hours work too, because if you saw that story, and I'm assuming you did because you're asking about it, we brought in a lot of other information too. So I reached out to the data analyst firm to get some numbers. I was doing a lot of research about the history of sales on Steam and like unit sales and things like that. So about 4 days off and on of compiling all the information and laying it out and trying to make sure that it flowed well, and that at all times we never seemed like we were happy to deliver that information. That's one of those tone things, right? So I just wanted to make sure it was purely informational based and laid out in a very logical way so that people would not try to murder us. But yeah, it was one of the bigger stories I've ever worked on.
And 4 days may not seem like a lot. It's one of those things that came from a very trusted source that we have known for a very long time. And it wasn't like somebody sent us an email. It was just some random dude, like Dragon Sniper 69 was like, oh, hey, bros, Half-Life's not coming out.
Which, by the way, did happen after we did that story. We got a lot of
From
just like...
Dragon Sniper 69.
Yeah, basically. We got a lot of random emails from like garbled sources saying, hey, I work at Valve, and you're full of shit. Like, people, I think, were trying to test what our cutoff was and feeding us false information to see if we would report on it, which we didn't because it was all stupid, because we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So we, like Bruce was saying, we spent a long time to verify the information. We checked it with other sources. We reached out to other people who weren't connected with that to see if it made sense to them. We reached out to other people, not even telling them we had a story, asking them for connected information just to verify just to see if it made sense from all these different people, and it did. So then we moved forward with the story. So yeah, we spent a long time on it.
I think the most interesting thing about that story is you sent out your I'm working on this story email, and then we didn't hear anything for 2 or something days. I'm like, guess they dropped that story, huh? And then it was literally posted. I texted
texted Ashley, I'm like, hey, they went ahead with that story we were talking about. We fully just thought you guys had because like you said, 4 days might not sound like very long, but in internet video, that's like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like you're working on a story for like 3 hours and then you're shooting and editing it. Like 4 days is a very long time.
It's like an entire era of dinosaurs.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name's Richie. Oh, my voice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hi, my name's Richie,
Hi.
Hello, Richie.
and I have a question about how you post material so quickly from release to video. Because you post your videos in a relatively quick manner, and I want to know how you do it so quickly from hearing the story to posting your video.
Eat your lunch at your desk.
I
Part of it.
can answer for Funhouse too. Matt Peak.
Yeah.
No, don't say it. Oh.
That's how it happens.
I have a new phobia. Yeah, it's a lot of just like run and gun. We don't like go out to lunch very often unless it's like a slow news day where we've already got our story done. Like we really like sit down and you just hammer it out. And it's something that I chime in if you disagree, but it's kind of one of those things that once you get in the flow of like when I was at SourceFed, I had to turn those stories in really quick and get used to writing scripts really quick. So when you get in the flow of writing something really quick, I don't feel like I can't, like I'm already in the mindset. It doesn't seem like I'm like hammering through a story. I just sit down and I write the thing and then there it is. Because you just get in that habit.
Sure. Once you do something enough, you get really good at it and really fast at it. And I'm sure Bruce can say, like, when I'm writing a script, it's just like there's a little cloud over my head, and I'm machine gunning away.
Mm-hmm.
And then 15 minutes later, we got 2.5 pages of who knows what. And then I like just freaking pray and cry. And
Ashley and I actually talked about that recently. We were watching you write a script.
Sometimes we just do this.
You were just like watching, and I was like, he must have this information written down already. And Ashley was like, I don't think he is. I think he's just writing it. And you jump all over. You're like over here, and then you're writing something, and then you come down here and you're writing something. And I'm like, this is crazy. He must have notes already written down or something. We were like discussing your process. We've been spying on you.
interesting.
One of the things that I love too is seeing, because scripts are made collaboratively, and there's a Google Doc and everyone's in it like all at once, and you'll be like note here, and then someone will jump off to research this specific number that you need or whatever, and then drop it in as you're setting up the entire thing. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, we dream of having that. I'm like note here, and then I get to the
I
script,
open a new tab and I like look it up, and then I put it back in the script.
I fully will be like, this happened X years ago, because like I'm like X will catch my eye, and then I'll get to write the script and I'm like, fuck, I didn't research that number, and I like go like Google it on my phone like 6 years ago. Okay, scroll back up. Here we go.
Yeah, and then for as far as editing goes, because for me at least, editing is actually the longer part. But we have the nice thing is that we have our template. We have a certain number of assets to work with. We have, of course, like materials like game trailers and footage readily available for us to use, and that kind of stuff helps a lot. That I would say is a lot easier than traditional stuff. Like if you're doing a narrative, story-driven video of some kind, like I would say like one of the harder things to edit would be like Social Disorder. I've seen their projects, and they're jumping back and forth between a billion different takes and a billion different cameras, and we only have a couple to worry about, and we already know what the end product is going to look like, which makes it easier and a lot faster.
Yeah, when you write and shoot the piece yourself, from my perspective, it's so much easier. I know exactly which take I want to use. We do everything in one full take, so I'm never like jumping around unless I screwed something up, and I'm able to like know where I'm going to cover that kind of thing. Editing for me is the fastest part because it's just I know exactly what I want it to look like when I go into writing the script. Like when I'm writing the script, I'm planning out, okay, I'm going to use a trailer here, I'm going to use this part, and I write it so that I can be talking about like, oh, Chun-Li's doing this thing, and I'm showing Chun-Li do that thing. I already know that that footage is available to me.
And once our show is shot, usually shot around 10:30, and then it goes from edit 10:30 to 1:30, and again, the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Peak, he doesn't stop.
It is.
He just
Oh,
edits.
they fell off.
It's deeper this time.
There it is. He edits for about 3 hours straight. He doesn't take a lunch or anything. He just busts his ass and gets the video done. So.
And additional shout out to Peak, by the way, E3.
Oh, yeah.
He was fantastic. So we had
Yes, it fell off that time.
we had these live streams. They were 8-hour live streams, and we had an issue the first day where we thought we were going to have local recordings that then we couldn't get, so we were having to pull them down and then chop them up. He did all of that, the entire VOD. He just did he's amazing. He just didn't. He didn't stop until it was finished.
Correct.
No, fuck everybody but Matt Peak.
He's mad.
Basically. You did it that time.
He's earned that.
Thanks.
But that doesn't make you guys not really scary.
Hope that answered your question.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
So I guess you kind of already answered this question, but I want to know how you guys, I guess Funhouse, when you say you have a trusted source, how do you guys really, I guess, portray that to prove that they're actually a source? Because, I mean, anyone can say that.
We can't. It comes down to we just have to say that we did our homework and verified it, and if you respect our professional integrity, you'll just have to take that, and then the rest of the story kind of hinges on whether or not you trust us. I'd like to think we don't just make up bullshit, but I can see how it would seem that way to somebody on the outside. But these things, it's about having a reputation, and that comes with time. So sure, the thing is, not to get too long-winded, but there are things we could say that would make our source more trustworthy, but it would also give more context about who it might be.
Right.
So we have to be very cagey about that stuff. We typically can't say anything because that stuff ruins careers, like lifelong careers. And absolutely no way are we going to do that for one video on YouTube where people are going to tell us we're lying. So, we just have to throw the information out there. And I think, I know most of the audience is level-headed enough. And if the story makes sense, people will believe it. So, yeah, that's it.
And that's one of those things too. Is anonymous sources are anonymous to the viewers, but they're not anonymous to the guys.
Yeah, that's something I think we didn't even know would be misunderstood, and I think we've been made aware that when we say anonymous, people thought we didn't know who it was either, which is totally not true. We have to verify it somehow, and just being like, we got an email. Cool. Someone doesn't work like that. So
someone just sent us this Snapchat. It's crazy.
Yeah, so you have to be really careful. Like you said, that ruins careers. So there are things that you guys could say or that we could share that are like a booyah type moment. But for one video and at the expense of what? Like, it's not worth ruining that kind of connection that you have.
Yeah.
So, and I think the thing about the industry is it's very small and very insular. So you kind of convince the people who need to be convinced, which is the industry people who understand where the sources come from, and you just leave the credibility stuff to the audience to figure out for themselves.
Another really interesting thing about those kinds of stories is that when we report them, they might change the course of what's happening with the story. So, like the Silent Hill story is a pretty good example of who knows what happened after we reported that story.
We heard some other things after the fact, but that's one of those things we can't say because based on what we heard, that might help somebody triangulate who told us.
Bruce, are you taking responsibility? Now, are you saying are you the reason?
I'm not. No.
We don't have this.
I don't know if we're the reason.
Let's talk.
I don't know if we're the reason, but it's again one of those things that might have changed the course of a few talks. And it's the same with the Half-Life 3 story and the same with the Dark Souls story. Like that was something that I know had an effect on later.
I
do.
That's the thing. It's like you're like, let's
can't
talk.
say what.
I had to at least once.
That's a pun. It's a pun.
I get it.
No, but that's the thing about like Ashley saying like let's talk about it. But it's like even beyond that story being out, we still can't say all the things that we know about it. Like those are the kinds of things. Therein lies the.
It's just pity claps.
It's almost a so clap. Matt Peak. Now I've embraced it.
Thank you.
So thank you for asking.
Hi.
Hello.
So speaking of this ever so controversial source, do you guys ever receive information from them and you immediately know, I don't want to cover this. This doesn't seem credible. It's just something too controversial. Also, would you guys ever consider covering the same kind of thing that they do, or do you want to keep it separate? Kind of
like for the No versus Funhouse.
Like getting an information from a source and then covering a story, even though it may be a lot more controversial than you wanted it to be.
Yeah, I think we'd certainly be interested. I don't think we would shy away from that kind of thing. We do. I don't know. I guess we do sort of shy away, but we don't really cause that much controversy, but we'd like to cause some controversy, I guess. I would be
just a dash. People like to pinch.
Those kinds of things like that you guys cover that we've talked about with like anonymous sources and stuff like that, like they make me so nervous and anxious for that source.
It's scary.
And it's very scary. I don't think people really respect how hard it is to make the decision. Do I pull the trigger? Do I cover this story? I could potentially ruin someone's life, like lifelong work. Do I report it anyway? That stuff makes me really nervous. I don't think I would shy away from it if I had the opportunity, but it is something that is not lightly, like taken lightly at all.
We've gotten lots of information that we didn't ever cover or show. I mean, like, it's one of those things where, and we get from a lot of different sources we've got, and I'm just like, okay, like, cool. We'll
It didn't light our asses on fire, so we're like, it's not gonna, no one else is gonna care about this. There's a lot of things that no one knows that also no one would really care about. So, we get some of that stuff too, and that's cool. But we also, we have to consider what our audience wants to see and what would be entertaining.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, even no matter where the information comes from, whether it's an anonymous source or not, it comes down to whether it's something that we find interesting and that we think other people find interesting as well. If not, there's really no point.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. We're running a little low on time. Not sure how many more questions we have, but.
Oh, we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So first off, I want to thank Ashley for supporting my community channel that I launched and dealing with the barrage of questions I've sent at you. So with that in mind, when I try to release my community videos, I try to expand on something that you guys don't already do. I mean, you guys already cover the news. You guys do it great. I don't have any problems with that. But when I read the title, The Know, I think of helpful videos, more guides or informational content that's more timeless, so that would bring return viewers. Would you guys, would you guys think of doing something like that in the future?
Potentially, yeah. We're like,
maybe like how to get achievements in games.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
no, we can't do that.
meaning more like informational, technical guides, like how do I set up a game streaming? How do I set up upload and cut
that's
videos?
Really like what we.
Yeah, the only problem with that is there was a bit of a logical disconnect with your premise there. When somebody looks up a technical guide, they don't want to subscribe to that. They just want to know how to set up their DVR. So they set up their DVR, they're like, cool. And then they leave. There's nothing about a very informative, well-written guide that makes you want to keep watching other guides. Like if you want to set up your DVR and the next video is how to change your oil. Like, I don't need to change my oil. You don't watch it. So.
But again, just to expand a little bit more, technical, by that I mean like one of the videos I released was information about video streaming websites. Which one is the best for users? Okay. Now that's, in my opinion, would work for a lot of people in this room because they would get, if they want to see something like that, that's information that's it's out there. They may not know about it, so it's more coming from you guys with the research and the background that you guys already have.
We already do some of those videos. For instance, Ashley just did a really informative video on Windows 10. Should you upgrade? I mean, like we do those videos already. We don't do them. We don't really do them like the best gaming laptop. If you're going for a gaming laptop, because again, I think that feeds into what Lawrence was saying. If someone's looking for a gaming laptop, are not necessarily looking to stream or do any of the other things that we would sort of compare in those videos. Those are more of like Christmas time videos. You know what I mean? Like when people are actually shopping for that kind of thing. But I don't think that that is always the most subscribable content. But I do think we do it on a level when it's timely.
Yeah, and we are looking into making some more evergreen content, but that's probably going to be a little bit more original stuff as opposed to guides or lists or anything like that. There are plenty of other places that do the top 10 things, and they do it very, very well. Or, top 5s. I heard there's some trophy men do top 5. Cool.
Pointy fellas.
And so we'll look at doing more evergreen stuff, but a lot of what we've been doing lately is finding something current, like the release of Windows 10, to then discuss something that can be a little bit more evergreen. And that's where the context and additional information comes in for us.
The most important thing for your community channel is you.
Yeah.
And my 5 viewers, of course.
Yes.
You're going to get more, and they're going to like the channel for you. So that's what you want.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think this was touched upon a little, but I wanted to expand upon it. Going back to, I think there's this issue in the news media for video games and all mediums of the news grind every day. There's, the one story and there's 500 versions of it. And I think having followed The Know since it was the Rooster Teeth News back in the day, which wasn't that long ago, but I guess it feels long.
It feels a long time ago, doesn't it?
But to now, I noticed one of the things in this last year of expansion, partially because of the Funhouse guys, but also because the direction you've gone in is more original reporting, like exclusives and scoops and things like that. And I just wanted, because it's a curious thing, because I think so many websites fail because they don't have this. How do you develop that kind of thing of having a framework for doing more original reporting that's different?
I think all of us, correct me if I'm wrong, I know for Bruce, but we've all been in the industry a long time. Bruce worked on Attack of the Show for a very, very long time and made friends with all of those people in the industry.
Even before that, I was at G4, and like I was making friends with people at G4 and like AOL Games and a bunch of other random places, and obviously we were at Machinima and things like that. That's like Meg is saying, that's just
you
comes
just
with
meet
time.
those people, and make those relationships over time.
Yeah, there's no fast way of doing that. You know, a lot of times it comes from, you know, head down, working hard, and, you know, meeting people eventually. I've been working in the video game industry and working with people in the video game industry since 2000. And, you know, and it takes a long time. But then over time you build up that list of contacts. You're like, I need to talk to someone at EA, and you can do that. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's a lot of hard work, and there is that grindstone element, and that's what I was gonna make some kind of like diamond reference, but I'm not going to because I can't figure it out.
It's okay, but that's what you're.
I'm much better when I can write things down. That's why I do it.
That's what you're looking for. Nailed it. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
My question is, how is your background, like with Lawrence's being more traditional media and like Meg coming from SourceFed, how has that affected how the other people do their stories too? Like, do you learn off of each other and learn each other's tendencies to do better together as a group?
Absolutely. I think we're always kind of like doing this like melody dance, this like fusion dance with each other of like different things that we've learned and different expectations that we have. I think coming in from SourceFed, just on my behalf, like learning maybe not like the best practices for keeping editors, but like you do this and you cut it really fast. So I cut videos really, really fast, and I expect other people to have their videos cut really, really fast. And I think that helped kind of when we're talking about editors and like moving forward and looking at other people. We all have different preferences and things that we look for, and we all put weight in different places, and I think that makes us look for better people and actually makes each other better, because you don't really think like, oh, that's important. But then when someone else thinks it's important, you think, oh, maybe I should think about that more often.
Well, and it's nice too that we're able to lean on each other for that. So we can be writing something and be like, Lawrence, I really need your input on this. Is there something that we should be discussing, that maybe we've missed? It's nice to have everyone with different strengths, so that then we can lean on each other for those.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't have anything to add. No.
Yeah, it's all good.
Hi. I have a question for Meg and Ashley mostly. I know you two get a lot of hate, and a lot of it's really, really, really unnecessary, and a lot of it's because you're women in the industry. And I was just curious how both of you deal with that. I know, Meg, you also get a lot of hate because of your photo shoots and stuff, and just how do you deal with that in a market that doesn't really always welcome you?
I actually feel like we are much better received by the community than I've seen from other female presenters. I've seen other female presenters get some serious shit. I read comments on other videos. I'm like, what is this? Who are these people and what are they doing? And in the grander scheme of things, I think that people have been very welcoming and very very kind to us, which is good, because it's not sad that way. But so I think we've actually been blessed that way, and I try to keep that in mind whenever someone does have their criticisms. And if someone's really critical, figure out if they have legitimate criticisms and they're just leaning on the fact that we're women to try to discredit us, or if it's just an emotional response or what it is that's going on there.
I think what's really interesting, we were talking earlier about needing the dude perspective because it was just the two of us for so long. I think that kind of dispelled having a channel that was solely women talking about video games and bringing up things that were controversial and putting out posts that made people angry and powering through and not backing down from people's anger and people's vitriol kind of just made people like if you pick on someone and they don't react, you find someone else to pick on. And I think that that's kind of what's happened with us. It's at this point we've weathered a lot of different storms and we've kept going, and so people are just like, it doesn't really get to them, so they don't do it as much.
And one of the things I think too that has helped both of us is that we're not just hosts. We write our own stories because we care about them, and I hope that comes across. Yeah. It feels like it would, because we care very much about what we're saying. and we're choosing to say it, not just reading some words as they come across the screen and then, checking out. So hopefully that's what sets us apart.
I think this has to be our last question.
Hey,
Sorry, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will be
How long
standing
do we
here.
have? Maybe we can lightning round.
Yeah, maybe. It has to be super quick. It's like
That's
literally
not
we have
the audience, I think.
negative minutes.
Oh, we have negative minutes.
Yeah,
So,
sorry. This has to be the last question.
I really like esports, and I really loved the leaderboard when it was
Oh,
on the
thank
No.
you. Only
It was
you.
like my favorite show.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the one who loved it.
So, I mean, it sort of
There's
died
two.
off when they moved it to Daily Dot Esports.
Yeah.
Will you ever have a similar show or bring that show back?
It just went so well. How could we not? No, I really loved doing the leaderboard just because it was fun for me, and Jared is really funny, and I'm so not into esports. Like, I don't know how to play them, but I'm interested in watching them. And I watch something happen, I'm like, oh, things flashed, and that guy got owned, yay!
I mostly just like the drama. There's a lot of it in esports.
Yes, lots of tweets. Call of Duty players are my favorite. But anyway, they moved it to the Daily Dot. I do guest host it every once in a while, but we tried something. It was a grand experiment. We're always trying something new, and we found out that the Rooster Teeth audience is not necessarily esports news watchers for a lot of different reasons, not because they're not interested in esports, but the show just didn't work very well on our channel, so the Daily Dot is a wonderful place for it. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, we're still going.
We have more time?
It's
I
just
don't know.
Cool.
really quick. I just want to say thanks to all of you for what you do. It's amazing, and I trust all of you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's just, you guys have a lot of credibility with
The
me.
biggest thing,
Anyways.
honestly, is thanks to you guys, because we wouldn't be doing it if you guys didn't care. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
But also, thank you, Lawrence, for actually being brave enough for saying that the game industry is a business and not just like a personal thing. Like, so if a developer does something you don't like, you don't take that personally. It's just a business.
Yeah, just
Thank you.
appreciate that. It's not a creative commune. These things it's commercial art.
It is an industry.
Yeah, and that drives a lot of the decisions that people get so mad at. I don't know. Like, people play a free-to-play game and not pay for it, and then get mad when there's microtransactions. People don't work for free.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, it's weird that doesn't come up more often.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks again, guys.
And thank you for coming to